In the dim glow of the after-hours kitchen at Elite Bistro in downtown Chicago, Mac Harrington, the Undercover CEO posing as a new line cook, froze when he saw Jake Thompson stumble in with a swollen, bruised face, blood trickling from his lip. Jake, the charismatic waiter who'd been charming customers all evening, now clutched his side as if every breath hurt, his eyes darting nervously to the door. Mac's heart pounded, not just from shock, but from the inexplicable pull he'd felt toward Jake since day one, a feeling he'd buried deep under layers of denial and corporate armor. Mac had taken this undercover gig on a whim, or so he told himself. At 35, he was the heir to Harrington Enterprises, a chain of upscale restaurants across the Midwest, but recent employee complaints about management at this flagship location had prompted him to go incognito. Dressed in a stained apron and baseball cap, he'd blended in for 2 weeks, observing the staff dynamics, the petty thefts, the overworked shifts. But Jake stood out immediately, 28, with sharp features, a quick wit, and an effortless grace that made even the grumpiest patrons smile. Mac had dismissed his lingering glances as mere admiration for a good worker. Now, seeing Jake like this, that excuse crumbled. "Who did this to you?" Mac whispered, stepping out from behind the prep station. Jake jumped, his bruised face paling further under the fluorescent lights. "None of your business, new guy," Jake snapped, but his voice cracked. He tried to sidestep toward the lockers, but Mac blocked his path gently. "I'm not letting you walk away like this. Sit down." Mac's tone was firm, the CEO in him surfacing despite the disguise. Jake hesitated, then slumped onto a stool, wincing. Up close, the damage was worse. A cut above his eye, fingerprints blooming purple on his neck. Mac grabbed the first aid kit, his hands shaking slightly as he dabbed antiseptic on the wounds. "It's my brother," Jake muttered finally, staring at the floor. "We got into it again. He found out. About me. About who I am." Mac paused, cotton swab hovering. "Who you are?" Jake looked up, defiance mixed with fear in his eyes. "I'm gay, all right? And in my family, that's not okay. Dad's a pastor in the suburbs. Mom's all about appearances. They think it's a phase or worse, a sin. My brother, he's the enforcer. Thinks he can beat it out of me." The words hung heavy in the air. Mac felt a knot twist in his stomach. His own family was a mirror of that. Old money, conservative values, expectations of marriage and heirs. He'd dated women, played the part, but deep down he'd always known. Suppressed crushes in college, averted eyes in locker rooms. It was there, but admitting it meant risking everything. The company, his inheritance, his identity. "I'm sorry," Mac said softly, bandaging Jake's hand where a fresh scrape marred his knuckles. Their fingers brushed, and a spark shot through Mac, undeniable. Jake noticed, pulling back slightly, but not before a flicker of curiosity crossed his face. The next few days blurred into tension. Mac watched Jake from afar during shifts, noting how he hid winces behind smiles, how he avoided calls from home. At night, Mac lay awake in his rented apartment, replaying the conversation. Why did it hit so hard? Was it empathy or something more? He decided to dig deeper, subtly, as the new cook. Over shared smoke breaks. Mac didn't smoke, but pretended. Jake opened up piecemeal. "My folks disowned me once before when I came out at 20. Jake confided one evening, leaning against the alley wall. "I moved to the city, built a life. But Dad's sick now, heart issues. Mom begged me to come back, pretend for his sake. So I did weekends at home, straight act on. But my brother suspects, always pushing buttons." Mac nodded, his own secrets bubbling. "Sounds rough. Ever think about cutting ties?" Jake laughed bitterly. "And lose my family? They're all I have, messed up as they are. Besides, who else would I be?" That question echoed in Mac's mind. Who was he, really? The polished executive in boardrooms? Or this guy flipping burgers? Feeling alive for the first oot time? He started seeking Jake out more, helping with tables when busy, sharing laughs over botched orders. Their conversations deepened. Dreams of travel, favorite books, the loneliness of city life. Mac felt the walls cracking. One night, after closing, they walked to the L train together. Rain slicked the streets, neon signs reflecting in puddles. "You don't talk much about yourself," Jake said, glancing sideways. Mac shrugged. "Not much to tell. Grew up privileged, but it came with strings." "Like what?" "Expectations. Marry right, carry on the name." Mac's voice tightened. He'd been engaged once, to Sarah, a family friend's daughter. It ended when he couldn't commit, citing work. Truth was, it felt wrong. Jake stopped under a street lamp.
Sounds familiar.
"You ever feel like you're living someone else's life?" Their eyes met and time stretched. Mac's pulse raced. "All the time." Jake stepped closer. "Maybe it's time to change that." Before Mac could respond, Jake's phone buzzed. His brother. The moment shattered. Jake answered tersely, then hung up. "Gotta go. Family dinner tomorrow. Pray for me." As Jake vanished into the subway, Mac stood in the rain, soaked and conflicted. He couldn't ignore this anymore, but pursuing it meant blowing his cover, risking the investigation, and his heart. The following week escalated. Mac overheard the manager, Rick, berating Jake for a minor spill. "Shape up, Thompson, or you're out. We don't need distractions." Mac seethed but stayed silent. Later, he reviewed security footage in his real office across town, part of the undercover op. What he saw chilled him. Rick pocketing tips, skimping on supplies. But more alarming, a clip of Jake in the break room. On the phone, tears streaming as he argued with his family. Compelled, Mac texted Jake anonymously from a burner phone. "Hang in there. You're stronger than you know." Stupid, risky, but he couldn't stop. Jake replied, "Who is this?" "A friend." Their texts evolved into late-night confessions. Jake shared childhood stories of hiding magazines, the shame of church sermons. Mac, veiled, admitted his own doubts about identity. Felt liberating, terrifying. Then disaster. Jake's brother showed up at the restaurant during lunch rush. Tall, burly, he cornered Jake in the back. Mac, chopping veggies, heard raised voices. "You think you can hide it? Dad knows about your friend in the city. Leave me alone, Mark." A crash, Jake shoved against shelves. Mac burst in. "Hey, back off." Mark sneered. "Mind your business, kitchen rat." Mac stood firm. "This is my business. Get out before I call the cops." Mark left, fuming. Jake, shaken, thanked Mac. "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." That night, they shared a beer at a nearby bar. "Why'd you step in?" Jake asked. "Because."
Ikare.
Mac's voice was low. The admission hung between them. Jake's eyes softened. "Me too." Their hands touched across the table, a tentative bridge. But Mac knew the cost. If he revealed himself, everything changed. The budding connection between Mac and Jake deepened amid the chaos of restaurant life. But shadows loomed larger. Mac wrestled with his dual existence. Days as the lowly cook, nights as the CEO poring over reports. The anonymous texts continued, a safe outlet for vulnerability. "Sometimes I wonder if coming out would destroy me," Jake typed one midnight. "It might change things, but it could free you," Mac replied, his fingers hovering over the send button. Hypocrite, he thought. He hadn't come out to anyone, not even himself fully. At work, tension mounted. Rick's mismanagement was evident. Understaffed shifts, expired ingredients. Mac documented it all, planning to fire him soon. But Jake bore the brunt, extra hours, verbal jabs. "You're slipping, Thompson. Personal issues." Rick sneered one afternoon. Jake bit back. "Nothing I can't handle." After shift, Mac pulled Jake aside. "Don't let him get to you. Easy for you to say. You just started. I've been here 3 years, scraping by." Guilt gnawed at Mac. He wanted to fix it, but revealing his identity now would complicate everything, including whatever this was between them. Their walks home became routine, conversations turning intimate. Jake spoke of past relationships. A college boyfriend who left when things got serious, the fear of commitment tied to family rejection. "I want something real, but it's hard when you're always looking over your shoulder." Mac nodded, sharing veiled truths. I've dated, but it never felt right. Like I was performing. One evening, under the city lights, Jake stopped. Are you like me? Mac's breath caught. I think so. Yeah. Jake smiled, relief evident. Good to know. They didn't kiss, not yet. But the air crackled with possibility. Meanwhile, Mac's family pressured him. His father, Reginald, called daily. When are you settling down, son? The board wants stability. I'm focused on the business, Mac lied. And that means what? Another merger? Or finally proposing to someone suitable? The words stung. Mac's mother had arranged blind dates, all polished women from their circle. He'd gone through the motions, but his mind wandered to Jake. Then, a turning point. Jake invited Mac to his apartment for dinner. Simple pasta, cheap wine. The space was small, cluttered with books and art supplies. Jake painted in his spare time, abstract pieces swirling with emotion. This is me, Jake said, gesturing. Messy, but honest. Mac envied that. Over dinner, they talked dreams. Jake wanted to open a gallery someday. Mac confessed his love for cooking, buried under executive duties. As the night wore on, Jake leaned in. I like you, Mac. A lot. I like you too. Their lips met softly, a release of pent-up tension. It was tender, charged with emotion, but they pulled back, aware of the fragility. After, lying on the couch, Jake traced Mac's arm. What now? We take it slow. But slow wasn't an option. The next day, Mark called Jake at work. Dad's health worsening. Come home, and leave that city filth behind. Jake confided in Mac. I have to go. Pretend again. Don't. Tell them the truth. Jake laughed hollowly. And watch Dad's heart give out? No. Mac saw the conflict. Love versus self-preservation. It mirrored his own. While Jake was away that weekend, Mac accelerated the investigation. He confronted Rick privately, still undercover. I know what you're doing, stealing, cutting corners. Rick laughed. Who are you to accuse? But Mac had evidence. In a heated exchange, Rick fired the new cook on the spot. Mac left, seething but triumphant. He'd fire Rick officially soon. Jake returned Monday, more bruised emotionally. It was hell. They grilled me about my life, hinted at fixing me. Mac, now unemployed, met Jake outside. I got fired. What? Why? Stood up to Rick. Jake hugged him impulsively. My hero. In that embrace, Mac decided, time to come clean. But first, he helped Jake navigate family calls, offering support. Weeks passed in a whirlwind. Mac, back in his CEO role secretly, orchestrated Rick's dismissal. The staff rejoiced, but Jake worried about job security. Then betrayal struck. Mac's assistant leaked his undercover stint to the press. A rival's sabotage. Headlines blared. Harrington air spies on staff. Jake saw it first, storming into Mac's real office, which he'd looked up. You lied to me. Mac stood pale. Jake, You're the boss? The whole time. I was investigating. But what we have is real. Is it? Or was I just part of the charade? Jake left, slamming the door. Mac chased, but Jake blocked his number. Devastated, Mac faced his board. It was necessary, he defended. But personally, it unraveled. His father berated him. Undercover? Like some reality show? Focus on family legacy. Alone, Mac drank, questioning everything. Had he sacrificed a chance at love for control? Meanwhile, Jake spiraled. At home, his family sensed weakness, pressuring harder. See a therapist, his mother urged. For your issues. Jake resisted, but doubt crept in. Was love worth the pain? A week later, Mac showed up at Jake's door, soaked from rain. Please hear me out. Jake let him in reluctantly. You used me. No. I fell for you. The real you. Tears fell. But you hid who you are. So did you with your family. The parallel hit. They talked all night, forgiveness tentative. But external forces mounted. Mac's family learned of the rumors, staff whispering about his closeness to Jake. Reginald confronted. Is it true? You're involved with a man. Mac froze. The moment of truth. Denial crumbled under Reginald's steely gaze in the family estate study, mahogany walls closing in like a cage. Answer me, Mac Candor. Are these rumors accurate? Mac swallowed, heart hammering. Yes, I'm gay, Dad. And Jake, he's important to me. Reginald's face reddened. This is unacceptable. The Harrington name. Generations of tradition. You'll ruin us. It's who I am, Mac said, voice steady despite the tremor inside. His mother, Evelyn, entered, eyes wide. Mac, think of the scandal. The investors. I have, but I can't live a lie anymore. The argument escalated, voices echoing. Reginald threatened disinheritance. Evelyn pleaded for discretion. Mac left, storm-tossed, driving aimlessly through Chicago's streets. He called Jake. I came out to them. Silence, then. How'd it go? Badly, but it felt right. Jake softened. Come over. At Jake's, they held each other, sharing the weight. My family's pushing too, Jake admitted. Therapy, church retreats. They say it's for my soul. Don't go, Mac urged. But Dad's dying. If I don't. The moral quandary gnawed. Duty versus authenticity. They decided to face it together, but cracks formed. Social pressures amplified. At a company gala, Mac attended solo, whispers following him. A board member pulled him aside. This lifestyle choice. It's distracting. It's my life, Mac retorted. Jake faced similar at work, new manager supportive, but customers occasionally sneered, old prejudices surfacing. One night, a patron refused service from the gay waiter, causing a scene. Jake came home defeated. Is it worth it? Mac held him. We are. But doubt seeded. Mac's business suffered. Stock dips, conservative clients pulling out. Reginald cut ties, freezing assets. Desperate, Mac met a family friend, a lawyer, for advice. Compromise, the man suggested. Date discreetly, maintain appearances. Tempting, but Mac refused. Instead, he proposed to Jake, move in with me. We'll build our own life. Jake hesitated. What about my family? Choose us. The choice tore Jake. He visited home, Dad frail in bed. Son, promise me you'll find your way back to God. Tears choked Jake. I love you, Dad, but I can't change. Mark overheard, exploding. You're killing him. Fists flew. Jake fought back, escaping with fresh bruises. He called Mac sobbing. I can't do this. Mac rushed over, finding Jake packing. Where are you going? Away. To think. Don't leave me. But Jake did, driving to a friend's in Milwaukee. Alone, Mac spiraled into work, masking pain. Weeks dragged. Mac reformed the company. Diversity training, inclusive policies. It helped business rebound, but personally emptiness reigned. Then, a call from Jake's mother. Jacob's in the hospital. Overdose attempt. Mac's world shattered. He drove through the night, arriving at the sterile ward. Jake lay pale, hooked to machines. Why? Mac whispered. Jake woke groggily. The pressure. I couldn't take it. Guilt crushed Mac. Had he pushed too hard? As Jake recovered, they talked rawly. I chose them over me, Jake confessed. But it broke me. And us? Mac asked. I want us. But we need boundaries. Reconciliation was slow, therapy helping. Mac supported Jake's family distance. Jake encouraged Mac's independence. But betrayal lurked. Mark, vengeful, dug into Mac's life. Leaking to tabloids. CEO's gay affair destroys family. Headlines screamed. Mac's board demanded resignation. The scandal's too much. Mac fought but lost. He stepped down, selling shares. Freed yet broken, he confronted Reginald. You did this. No, you chose perversion over duty. The words severed ties forever. Jake stood by Mac, quitting the restaurant to start anew. They moved to a quieter suburb, Mac consulting, Jake pursuing art. Healing began, but scars remained. Social circles shunned them, old friends ghosted. One evening, walking hand in hand, a stranger yelled slurs. Mac tensed, but Jake squeezed. We've faced worse. True, but the toll was immense. Lost fortunes, fractured families, wounded psyches. As they built resilience, questions lingered. Was authenticity worth the devastation? In the wake of the public fallout, Mac and Jake's relationship transformed from fragile hope into a battle-hardened bond, forged in the fires of societal rejection and personal sacrifice. They rented a modest apartment in a progressive Chicago neighborhood, far from the opulent world Mac once knew. Mornings started with coffee and quiet conversations, evenings with shared meals where they dissected the day's wounds. Mac took freelance consulting gigs for small eateries, advising on operations without the corporate glare. Jake sold his paintings online, slowly building a following, abstract works channeling turmoil into color. Yet the past haunted. Mac's phone buzzed with voicemails from Evelyn. Please, son, reconsider. Your father's health is declining. He deleted them, but each one chipped at his resolve. Jake, too, received texts from his mother. Your father's asking for you. Come home. The guilt was a constant undercurrent, pulling at their fragile peace. One afternoon, while Mac reviewed a client's menu, Jake burst in, face ashen. Mark called. Dad's in hospice. Days left. Mac set aside his laptop. What do you want to do? I have to go. Say goodbye. I'll come with you. Jake shook his head. They'll never accept us. Then don't go alone. We face this together. The drive to the suburbs was tense, silence broken only by radio static. At the family home, a colonial relic of conformity, Mark answered the door, scowling. You brought him. He's my partner, Jake said firmly. Inside, the air was thick with incense and regret. Dad lay gaunt, eyes fluttering open. Jacob. Jake knelt, taking his hand. I'm here, Dad. Tears welled. I prayed for you, to find peace. I have Dad, with Mac. A weak shake of head. That's not God's way. The words stung, but Jake held firm. It's my way. Mom wept in the corner. Mark fumed. As they left, Mark cornered Mac outside. You ruined him. No, Mac replied. We saved each other. Dad passed 2 days later. The funeral was a powder keg. Relatives whispering, stares piercing. Jake stood tall, Mac by his side, but the exclusion was palpable. No mention in the eulogy, sidelined at the reception. Back home, Jake broke down. They acted like I don't exist. Mac held him. You do. To me. But the event reopened wounds. Jake withdrew, painting furiously, canvases dark and chaotic. Mac threw himself into work, landing a bigger client, but it required travel, straining their time together. Moral de lemes intensified. A former board member offered Mac reinstatement. Quiet your personal life, and it's yours. Temptation flickered. Stability, legacy. But it meant hiding again. He confided in Jake. What if I take it? For us? Jake's eyes hardened. Then it's not us. It's a lie. The argument flared. I'm thinking of our future. Bills, security. At what cost? Your soul. Mac stormed out, walking the city blocks. Was compromise betrayal or survival? He declined the offer, but resentment lingered. Jake, sensing it, pushed boundaries, attending pride events, advocating online. Mac joined reluctantly, fearing exposure. Then, a shocking twist. Evelyn reached out. I want to meet. Alone. At a neutral cafe, she looked aged. Your father regretted the rift before he died. Mac's throat tightened. Too late. But I'm here. I don't understand, but I miss my son. Tears flowed. Tentative reconciliation. Coffee dates. Awkward talks. Evelyn met Jake eventually, politeness masking discomfort. Jake's family remained distant, but a cousin reached out supportively. As months passed, their love deepened amid trials. They volunteered at LGBT centers, helping others navigate similar storms. Youths disowned, couples fractured. One night, after a support group, Jake proposed. "Marry me, despite everything." Mac, stunned, said yes. The engagement was private, a symbol of defiance. But society struck back. A conservative group targeted Mac's consulting firm with boycotts, claiming moral corruption.
Client dropped, finance tightened.
Desperate, Mac considered suing for defamation. Jake urged caution. "Don't stoop." The stress peaked. Mac snapped during an argument. "Maybe if you'd cut your family sooner, we wouldn't be here." Jake recoiled. "And you? Hiding for years." The fight escalated, doors slamming. Jake left for a hotel, needing space. Alone, Mac reflected on the chain. Deception, revelations, losses. Was love the villain or the system? He tracked Jake down, apologizing. "We're in this because we chose truth. I wouldn't trade it." Reunited, they planned a small wedding, inviting only allies. The ceremony was intimate, vows raw. Through betrayals and battles, "I choose you." Honeymoon in New York, they walked Central Park, hands linked, ignoring stares. Back home, reality bit. Mac's business faltered. They downsized. Yet, in quiet moments, they found joy. Cooking together, painting sessions, dreams of adoption. The journey taught harsh lessons. Freedom's price, resilience's reward. But questions remained, echoing in their minds. Years blended into a tapestry of hard-won stability for Mac and Jake. Their marriage a beacon amid lingering storms. They adopted a rescue dog first, then considered kids, navigating the bureaucratic maze with cautious optimism. Mac rebuilt his career as an advocate for inclusive business practices, speaking at conferences about corporate ethics and personal authenticity. His book, Undercover Truths, became a modest bestseller, detailing the undercover stint without exposing private pains. Jake's art flourished. A gallery show in Wicker Park drew crowds, his pieces selling to collectors who saw the raw emotion in every stroke. Yet, the scars influenced every decision. Family ties mended unevenly. Evelyn became a tentative ally, visiting occasionally, baking awkward pies. "I'm trying," she'd say, hugging Jake stiffly. Reginald's ghost loomed, but Mac found peace in forgiveness. Not for his father, but for himself. Jake's side was thornier. After Dad's death, Mom softened slightly, sending birthday cards. Mark remained hostile, but a sister reached out secretly, sharing family updates. Jake attended a niece's graduation, alone, testing waters. "It hurt, but it's progress," he told Mac. Socially, they faced ongoing battles. At a pride parade, counter-protesters hurled insults. Mac shielded Jake instinctively. Online trolls targeted Jake's art, calling it propaganda. They reported, blocked, but the drain was real. Moral conflicts arose in unexpected ways. A young employee at Mac's new firm came out, seeking advice. "My parents will disown me," the kid said. Mac shared his story. It might happen, but living truthfully, worth it. Yet privately he wondered, was he glorifying pain? Jake faced a similar dilemma when a gallery offered a show themed on queer struggles. He debated, exploit trauma for art or protect healing. He chose to participate but toned down, focusing on hope. The opening was triumphant, Mac beaming proudly. But betrayal resurfaced. An old friend from Mac's past, jealous of his reinvention, leaked private emails to a gossip site. Details of their fights, vulnerabilities. Headlines reignited. Gay CEO's marriage on rocks? Jake confronted Mac. "How could this happen?" "Trust broken again," Mac admitted, tracing the source. They sued for privacy invasion, winning a settlement, but the damage lingered. Trust frayed. Therapy sessions intensified. In one, the counselor asked, "What price are you willing to pay for visibility?" "Everything," Jake said. "Not our peace," Mac countered. The tension built to a climax. During a heated dinner, Jake announced, "I'm doing a podcast interview. About us, our story." Mac paled. "Why?" "More exposure. To help others. Silence helps no one." The argument peaked. "And if it destroys us?" Then we weren't strong enough. Mac walked out, driving to the lakefront, wind whipping regrets. He'd sacrificed empire for love. Now, love demanded more. The podcast aired, raw and honest. Coming out, family rifts, societal backlash. Listeners flooded with support and hate, but the positives outweighed. Messages from struggling youth. You saved me. Emboldened, they founded a nonprofit for LGBT workplace support, channeling pain into purpose. As time passed, they welcomed a foster teen, Mia, 16 and outcast for her identity. Guiding her mirrored their journeys. Therapy, advocacy, love. One evening, family dinner with Evelyn and Mia. Laughter filled the room. A far cry from past tensions. Yet, in quiet, Jake asked Mac, "Was it all worth it?" "Every scar," Mac replied. The story's arc closed not in triumph, but reflection. Choices made, prices paid, awakenings earned. But was hiding one's truth ever justifiable, or always a moral failing?